everybody. Welcome to another episode of Real Adventures and Destinations. I have a special guest here. We are at Art Sideshow in Montclair. I had the wonderful opportunity to be involved in an event here just about a week ago. I have the one and only OG GHOSTFACE, Lee Waddell, in the house here.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me in it.
Yes.
It was just a couple of weeks ago that we banged out this one little, it was a one-day pop-up, right? Super successful. Everybody came in. We did a bunch of signings. The vendors crushed it. And it was incredible that we had such a successful event because, as we know, if you're living in Southern California or visiting, apparently the Pacific Northwest weather system has parked itself over Southern California for the rest of the 23 season because we have like 4 feet of water and 20 feet of snow.
It's taken over.
Yeah.
We're about to buy boats just so we can cruise around.
I like the rain. I like the weather. I love snow skiing. I get all that. But, man, I got wet feet. If I wanted to have this, I'd move back up to the Northwest. That would be it.
That's
it. So, I'm down
to Oregon.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to get the same love as you're getting here in SoCal right now.
Exactly. I'm waterlogged. So I'm ready to tap out, get back to Texas, dry out, and heck out. But it's great being here. I still got lots of family and friends after we film days. It's always cool to be in SoCal. And SoCal has such a cool horror 24/7, 365 vibe. They really have a cool scene here.
It's starting in January in SoCal.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. That's like a new thing for us, probably within the last 2-3 years.
Absolutely.
It's like September was early, and then it just progressed downwards, and now it's in January.
Yeah, it's if you go onto the calendars, right, the horror calendars, every weekend in SoCal, there's some event, if not multiple events, every weekend.
Yes.
All the time. And it's really cool about the SoCal scene that it really took off is that it's kind of this big, crazy carnival family because it's always the same vendors, always the same players, and we just go from place to place to place. Yeah. And just have a blast. It's always a party. It's always fun.
And that's kind of the cool thing. Like we're talking, I thought it was a week ago, but I guess that's how time flies by just before your eyes. When I first met you here, we've been talking on Instagram and whatnot, but we actually got to meet you. It's like one of those, like you're saying, you meet new people. It's like another cool person that you add to your family, to your spooky family. A lot of people like using that term, but it's so cool. And we were honored, like I said, to be here at the event. Now, I know everybody wants me to ask about GHOSTFACE and all that, but I want to just throw a little curveball because beyond GHOSTFACE, there's Lee Waddell.
Right.
And you specialize in something very needed in especially filming and the movie industry, TV shows. I know you've been involved in, and I'll probably throw out one of my favorite movies by Jim Carrey that I think you were in back in the days. And you swear because you have to maybe I was. But
well, yeah, I got to put it on replay. Yeah.
It's an older movie, and you just thought, because that's what you do.
Yeah, with Jim Carrey, so that would be The Mask.
There you go.
I remember that.
And my son, I have a son, he's 21. He grew up watching The Mask.
Right.
So I know you more than just GHOSTFACE, and but of course everybody knows GHOSTFACE. Tell us about you, Lee Waddell, and your stunt, and like how you got into movies and TV shows and whatnot, because that's what I want to know the meat.
Yeah, and that's great, and I appreciate that, because, as much as I love GHOSTFACE, right, that was back then, so we shot that in 95, right, and I got out of high school in 81, went and did some community college, industrial arts, I was making jewelry, hanging out, just doing my vibe, and and I always had a thing for film. Like, I started making movies on, back when we were shooting on 16 mil, right? Back in the day, and make movies. So I really had a strong interest in film, but then I also had a strong interest in adrenaline. So I almost went to the Army.
Okay.
Both of them, it's either stunts or Army. Both had adrenaline.
Yeah.
All right. The only reason I probably really went with stunts because I had a better paycheck. Right? Yeah. And I still got to go around the world. And, so that's really kind of how I got into it. And then, so that's, let's call it mid-'80s. And I used to work multiple jobs so I could work at night and on the weekends. So during the week, I had the time off from trying to pay the rent to where I could go out and hustle movies. We would sneak on all the studios. I knew all the back doors. I knew all the security. I knew who to grease. I had all that stuff wired. And we'd sneak onto the studios and then go hit the sets. So once I got onto the set, I could find out who the stunt coordinator was, meet them or some of the stunt guys, and it was pure hustle for years. The running joke I like to tell everybody is like I was a 10-year overnight success, right? So that's about how long it took before I really started hitting and making big movies like Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all these big like U.S. Marshals and these big budget films. And, you know, as much fun as GHOSTFACE was and Scream 1 and 2, they were like, I think the budget on Scream 1 was, you know, 5-10 million, nothing. I mean, it was low budget. You know, Scream 2, same thing. I think we had 15 million. You know, yeah. But then you jump over and then here we are 10 years later, we're on Jurassic Park, right? You know,
yeah.
Spielberg, all of Universal, bazillion dollars, big money, you know, months of work. So, yeah, I was a 10-year overnight sensation. That's how I phrase it.
And you fell in love with stunts and whatnot. Now, during your career in stunts, if I recall, you were nominated for an award.
Yeah, back right when they started doing this, they started finally giving the stunt guys some credit. And I can't remember, it was an ensemble piece. So it was me and a bunch of the other guys and girls. And I still have that nomination paper. I have a big plastic bin, which, side note to that, is where I found my Scream 2 mask, right? So when it will come back to that nomination, but I have the Scream 2 mask that I got from production, right? And it's not the Scream 2 mask that I wore when I was doing my work. It was the Scream 2 mask that we used when we did the opening sequence of the Stab movie. So it was the Stab sequence, all the theater piece and all.
Right.
So we had a box full of that stuff. And I needed to grab one. So when I crashed the car, which is the sequence that I did for that particular film, they wouldn't let us take one of the hero ones because I had to cut it up and strap it on and literally duct tape it onto a crash helmet because I had to crash this car. So I had like 2 or 3 of them. So they wouldn't let me cut one up. So anyways, that's where I got mine from. It came right off the wardrobe truck and right into my bag. And we ended up using that one. So I kept it. That's right. And I found it 15, 20 years later in this bin with all this other cool stuff for my stuff.
Yeah.
So that piece of paper about that nomination is in that bin.
Down memory lane.
Yeah. I'm glad I still remember.
See? Threw you a little curveball there. Because I know everybody's like, you're going to ask about Scream, right? Of course I am. But that's later on. I want to know about the stunts that, you know, you're a stunt man by profession. Some of like we talked about the mask. I know you did work on Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
See, these are things that people put in.
What's Spider-Man? That's Marvel.
That's Marvel.
Yeah, so I'm in that Marvel universe.
You're in the Marvel universe. That's right. You crossed over.
Yeah, somebody have arrived.
And then you touched on the Marshals.
Yep, U.S. Marshals.
U.S. Marshals. Yep, that's an older film. I actually got to watch that movie. My dad was a big fan of that movie. So
yeah, I had a great time shooting that film.
Yeah,
it's fun.
So now, as a stuntman, what are because like you said, they don't get enough credit. Now, they don't our audience typically watch those main actors, right? The people in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. But behind those people in front of the camera are the leewaddells in the world. What do you typically do on a daily basis of filming or?
Yeah, so back in my day, and it still holds true to today, it's like, obviously, you know, you don't want to one up an A-list actor or actress because, as you know, production day is about $1 bazillion an hour to fill, right? And it's huge money. When you shut down for an hour, it's big money. It's $1 million, right? And so, you know, last thing you want to do is have your actor or actresses have to go in there and do something that might put them out of business for a while. Let's say, I mean, it could be as simple as spraining an ankle, right? And there you go. You've lost a month.
Yep.
Everything shuts down just because they have to heal up. So why don't you take somebody who's a good double that looks good, that moves like them, and that's what the stunt people do. We're there to make sure those people that we are doubling stay happy and healthy and can do our lines, make us look good, you know.
All right. Yeah.
And it sounds harsh, but if you wad up a stunt person, you don't want to. you haven't shut down production.
Yeah.
Really,
It continues.
Continues.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few exceptions to that, like Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah. That guy's still doing it.
He's an animal.
Yeah.
He's an anomaly. And, but because he's the producer of the film, he can get away with that.
That's true. Yeah,
That's why they wouldn't let him do it.
Now, I don't know how true this is, but you'd probably know the answer. Now, are the lead actors, or those, like you said, A-list actors that are in these movies, they're doing chase scenes in vehicles?
Mm-hmm.
Are they allowed to drive those vehicles?
Yeah, sometimes they are.
Okay.
Sometimes they are. A lot of times it's, a lot of times they're on the trailer. And then,
On the trailer, yeah.
But there's times when they get a better product, and it's safe to do so. You get a better product when you put them in the car and let them drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
and there's some very confident drivers, and that's the lineage of Hollywood, man. When you take a look at some A-list actors, Steve McQueen, right? James Garner when he shot it to Grand Prix. So years later, I had the pleasure of working with Frankenheimer, who directed that piece, right? And we were actually talking, and I was doing a big Firebird for him, so we actually had a chance to chat, which normally I just talked to the stunt coordinator, let's go bang out the stunt, but Frankenheimer actually took the time to say hi. We're just chit-chatting, and we were talking about James Garner and his ability to drive back at that time. So here we're talking late 60s, right? Yeah. And he's that guy, and they had pro drivers, real Grand Prix drivers, F1 dudes at that time filming that movie. And those guys were in awe of that. He was almost at an F1 level. He was such a great driver.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then an actor on top of that.
Yeah. And then you take a look at Paul Newman, right?
Oh, yeah.
Another guy. And I always wondered if Paul Newman wanted to be remembered as a philanthropist or an actor or a race car driver. And everybody I've talked to them that knew the man, he said he'd want to be known as a race car driver. Right. So still having guys drive to this day, there's this huge lineage in Hollywood. That's nothing new. These artists aren't reinventing, pun intended, the wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was established long before a lot of these actors.
Right. These guys weren't even mistakes yet.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But I like it. I'm a big fan of putting the actor or actress in front of camera as long as it's safe.
Yeah.
Because you get a better product.
Oh, yeah. And it translates on screen.
Yeah. And the viewing populace, then, the audience is so well educated. When we started coming out with those behind the scenes things back in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Like we're cutting our throats, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're still in the background. Yeah, you're pulling back the veil.
You're showing all the tricks.
Let's not do that.
That's right.
And so now the audience is so smart, and they know what's going on in their vision. And think about it, you sit there and you can produce a cool little piece of, social. You can put it out on social media. You can produce something on your iPhone now. Oh, yeah. That's actually pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I mean, the cameras are great. The memory's great. And you're pushing out 4K, putting it out there at 1080. So
it looks clean.
It looks good. And you're doing that on a cell phone.
Right.
Right? So look where it's gone. And that's what's so cool about social media. I mean, the avenues are just phenomenal. I mean, look at your projects.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. If back in the days, I don't think I would be able to do what I do now as far as indie films, the one we mentioned earlier that we did. I don't think we would have had that availability.
So it wasn't there 10 years
Yes,
ago.
it wasn't there. Right.
The crowdfunding wasn't there.
No.
And it is so cool because now you're getting these cool little indie films that are popping up, and some of them are just gems.
Right. Yeah.
And what's cool, I mean, going back to your thing, I mean, Atlanta had nano budget, right? As in none, nano budget.
Yeah.
And look where you ran with that. Oh. Amazon's got that sucker. Get out of there.
Now they should. Yeah. Amazon Prime. I wasn't going to even bring my thing into this podcast because I wanted to speak with you. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
But it's such a cool thing because that didn't exist.
It didn't
10 years,
exist.
hardly 5 years ago. Right. 10 years ago didn't. And it sure didn't happen in my time.
Right.
So it's really fun to watch that thing. I love indie. I always have loved indie stuff because I've been on big budget films and that are really fun. I love the budgets, but with the politics and the power structures and the leverage that comes down, rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah. And back to that, like what we were doing is we had a $5,000 budget. So we had literally, my wife was manning light at one time. We had another guy that was managing the sound, and we did all our special effects. So everything that is in our movie, Jay really did all the special effects. So, I mean, it was down to the wire. We got the movie done. We edited ourselves. We did the audio. I mean, we did everything with a 2-man team.
Who was craft service?
We didn't have that.
Yeah, 7-Eleven.
If you're lucky at the end of the day. No, but the ladies did take care of us. And wife took very good care of us, and then of course Jay's fiance took care of them, so we're good.
So like I said, but digressing back, and how cool is that you guys could do that? Right?
Blessed. We were blessed. Yeah. And to be picked up by, we kind of talked about this off camera, but picked up by Troma, picked up by Amazon Prime. We have our own streaming platform. I'll put a link in the bottom of this, just in the description.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good time to film.
It is, and it's really exciting, and and I'm having such a fun time with this whole GHOSTFACE thing and everything. And I've had a few people, come up and, hey, you want to come out of retirement? I like do it, and stunt acting would be fun. I could be the old guy at the end of the bar that gets rolled up. I could go with that, but man, I don't want to pipe ram a car, and I don't want to fall down a flight of stairs. I'll trip over a table.
I'd like to see you come out of retirement and do some acting.
It would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be fun, I think, just to have, because I got such joy. Like, people will ask me, like, what do you miss about making movies? And the old adage is, old stunt guy, is like, I miss the BSing, but I don't miss the BS. And that's just, I really miss, because I still have a lot of good close friends that are still making movies. They've moved up the food chain. They're directors and second unit directors now. I miss making films with them.
Oh yeah.
Right? I don't miss the nonsense of meal penalties of people trying to screw you out of overtime and how to screw around with adjustments. I don't miss waking up with Advil and ice.
Yeah.
I don't miss any of the nonsense of films.
Yeah.
I miss making film and making movies with my friends, because I don't care how hard you're working, there's always some room. Someone's always laughing, even if it's at the chaos, right? You'll be up there and you're working a 20-hour day, you're beat to pieces, and some crazy stuff happens, you still laugh. So I miss that element.
For sure.
I miss that part. I miss the creative part.
I think that's why I love how we did it. We're like indie, because we formed that bond while we're making a movie, because it's like building something. I told something about some similar to this. It's when you build something, you grab it, you start molding it from beginning to end. It's all in your hands. So when it's finished, that end product, it's a pride. You're proud of it.
Yeah, it is. It's this cool little process. At the end of it, you give birth to this, in our case, something horrific, right? And and here you are. So it's really cool. I'm really proud of you. It's fun to watch you indie guys. I say it that way. You took a $5,000 card, cashed it, and you're off to the races.
Yeah,
and you brought it home.
And we brought it home. Yeah, and it's crazy. We shot it on one camera.
There you go.
So it was just a bunch of different cuts. I mean,
started off on your master and went in.
That's right. Yeah, that's all we had. That's what we could do.
Exactly. Just go. To this day, film is film, and even though they got super creative with some of the CG and the way that motion capture is phenomenal, but at the end of the day, it's still pretty classical filmmaking.
It's still, it is.
You're going to start off wide, come on in.
That's right.
And how you get there is really cool, man. Some of those motion capture is phenomenal.
Goodness, now in these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know, what is the craziest thing that's happened to you on set during the, your whole stunt world? What has happened that just like right off the top of your head, you go like, wow, I survived that.
Yeah, I can tell you right off the top, right in the dinosaur in Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. Big stunt, big hairy stunt, had the potential to cause a great deal of pain, and it did. And that was a big stunt, because here we are, even though we had CG in play at that time, right? Those dinosaurs were nothing but big old backhoes with lizard skin. So it's all hydraulic. They're big, they're nasty. They're run by a puppeteer, across the other side of the stage who has stop points pasted on his monitor. They're like, okay, move the dinosaur from here to here. And that's how they would know how to stop, because they weren't sitting right next to the lizard, right? So that was a big iconic stunt. I've been really fortunate. I obviously did Scream 1 with the opening sequence, iconic thing. I did this thing in Jurassic 2 where I got pulled out of the Jeep and ripped in half by T-Rexes. Iconic. So I've had a couple of those.
So that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
You're pulled apart.
Right? And that one stretched me out. I mean, that one hurt. But what was so fantastic about it was a big stunt. It was totally rigged right. It was just, everything was great. It was just one of those stunts that was just, it was just big and it didn't, nothing malfunction. It was just big and violent.
Yeah, that's how it was.
And it was just like, and it got cut short in a sense, because you see what the final cut was compared to what we shot, and how it all went down. So we have it all rigged up, and the thing comes down and rips the roof off, and all this cool stuff. Is a hell of a sequence, right? But the actual sequence where I take the ride on this thing, there's no way I was going to fall, because we had a one-way cable. Once the hook was set, I was on for the ride. I could have sat there and yelled cut, done like,
no, you're not going to be a ragdoll.
Yeah, so they bring me out, the thing comes down, I put my leg right where it belongs between the two teeth, and actually took a big canine tooth out. It's one of those big old actors. And I went over to Stan Whitson, who was still alive at that time, to red of us. Effects guy. I go, Stan, as if kind of half the tooth, because I knew what this was about. I knew how big Jurassic Park was, and he wouldn't give it to me. That's like the only time in my 20-plus year career that I actually wanted a suit. Yeah, it's the only time. If I had any idea that Scream was going to be this nuts, I would have backed up my car.
Well, you could have gone.
I would have looted that.
You could fill up your closet and a different story.
We wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. We'd be shooting up a hot one. So, and I always say that, and that's funny, but so I take this ride, this dinosaur, and it pulls me out, and it's ragdoll, and here's where it went off the rails for a little bit. I hear Spielberg, and it's crazy I could hear, but when you're in the middle of big stunts like that, you're just working the equation. I wasn't all stressed out and the adrenaline hit, none of that stuff, because I'm in the middle of it, and I'm just feeling it come together, watching it come together. Big multifacets, all cool. I usually got the adrenaline on the backside, because when I was in the middle of it, that was a thinking man's game.
Man, you're a pro.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I come out, the thing yanks me out of there, and it starts swinging back and forth, and I'm like, that feels good, yep, it's coming together. 1 or 2 more cut, take it away, we're done, right? At about the second swing, I hear Spielberg from across the stage. He wasn't in close, he was over in Video Village. He goes, swing him harder. And then I wish you could see my eyes, because my eyes go boink, and all of a sudden the puppeteer who's running the lizard
from somewhere else,
from across next to Spielberg, he starts swinging me, and so it goes whoosh. Now I'm pulling some G's, because I'm straight out for this thing now. So my leg and my body mass is straight. I'm like planked out, and I'm looking at this thing. I'm swings around. I'm like, okay, that feels okay. I'm like, that's getting violent. The last one comes around. I'm like, I come around. I hit the side of this thing's head, just the size of this tape. It's huge. Right? It's life size. That last swing, I come around. My leg's pointed straight. It's in his mouth. And I remember when my leg, I'm like, okay, let's get out of this. My head comes around and hits this thing behind the eyeball, which basically means I took my left ear, I put it to my right foot.
Oh.
Just plank it out. Just, bam. And that one hurt. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. So then he goes, cut, then I'm hanging upside down and going, holy crap, this is hurt. And the coordinator comes over, he's like, yeah, okay. I'm like, yeah, get me out of here. Which means, get me out of here.
Yeah, get me out of here.
So we unhook, I run over there, and I walk over to Video Village, and Spielberg had already had the sequence cut. And I was hanging there for maybe 60 seconds max.
Wow.
And he goes, Lee, come on over here. And look at it, goes, man, it eviscerates me. I'm like, that was cool.
Spielberg. It's in the name. He's just the elite of the...
Yeah, so you look at my career, I got a chance to work with him. I got a chance to work with Frankenheimer. I worked with Les. Totally underrated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. 100% underrated. Yeah.
I look at some of these directors over my career. I'm like, man, I'll work with ahead. So I think the only one that I didn't, really... I hadn't worked with Tarantino. I wish I could work with it. And I wanted to work with Scorsese. Right? just to be around them and watch how they direct.
Their mind, it's their mind, how they work.
It would be really cool just to be able to be on set, and I could throw on and sit there and just grab a coffee and watch.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
love this just do.
Yeah, just and watch them direct. Yeah. Like, how do they set up shot? How's all the technical aspects of it? And just go to school and learn for, the set with those guys. Or it'd be really cool to do that.
So we could kind of forward to the screen now, because if I don't do it, my audience is paying me. So
sorry, guys. We're geeking out here.
No, I'm geeking out because that's what I wanted. I wanted to know more about you. I mean, yeah, we're all big Scream fans, and you got to work with the first and second Scream movies.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that. Like, we'll start at Scream, of course, and then we'll progress into Scream 2.
Right. So, I'd done several Wes's projects at that point, and Wes's right-hand second unit stunt coordinator was Tony Sealer, who brought me into the business. He was really part of that equation early on in my career. And he and I are still good friends today. We still talk. We'll see each other at the convention occasionally. So Tony brought me in, and I was doing film with Wes and Tony for, I think, Nightmare was my first Wes Craven film. So everything after that. When was People Under the Stairs done? That was after Nightmare, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Nightmare 1 was my first time with Wes and Tony working forward. And I did everything all the way through Scream 2, the exception of Serpents and Rainbows. That was it. I did them all.
Jeez.
So, yeah. So I spent a lot of time with Tony and Wes. So Tony breaks me in to do this. And I had worked with Drew Barrymore before. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that had a little bit to do with it. And Tony brings me in, and he and I and Wes sat down. I've asked this other times, and people have asked other times. But here's how it went down. Okay, so all you so-called experts out there. Okay, I was there. I was the guy. Wes was on one side. Tony was on the other, and we're in the middle of the house. And I'm already in work with the exception of the mask. And I'm like, Wes, tell me about this character. What is this guy? What is this thing? And he goes, and his major words where he goes, he moves like a phantom. That's straight from the director, straight to me. Tony Caesar's my witness. So that's what I took to heart. And so when you see me portray the character, you'll see the movement difference. I played it. That was the original scene 1, day 1, and we shot in sequence. That first couple of weeks we shot in sequence, which never happens.
Yeah.
For you people that are listening and watching, like when you get to shoot a movie in sequence, I'd say you pick up the script, and it says scene 1, take 1. That's where you start. That never happens. I've only had it happen once. It was on screen.
We haven't even had that happen in our movie.
Right. So Wes goes, that he moves like a phantom. Keep that in mind. I'm like, all right, I can do that. And so I segued back in my genre growing up on horror, and one of my favorite films, not the favorite, which is Creature from the Black Lagoon, original one. Love that one.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the original Family Albert with Lon Chaney?
Oh, yes. Black and white.
Black and white. Way back.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, so I remember how he moved sometimes. And even back then, the way that the film was shot. So I'm like, okay, that's where that motivation came from. And I coupled that with I modernized it. But I'm like, okay, phantoms move swift in one direction and aggression. They're almost like a specter.
Yeah, right.
And that's how I moved. So you watch how I played that character through 1 and a little bit of 2, and that's how I played it. And consequently, by the time 3 hit, and this is no bashing on anything, he's already gotten diluted down. 4 and 5 hit, he's tripping on his shoelaces. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? And I've always been verbal about how they portrayed Ghostface in those latter sequences. Scream 6, I like how they portrayed him. He moves aggression.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, the stunt coordinator who played him, is my understanding, actually moved. I liked how he moved. So anyways, I liked how he came over that couch in that particular scene when he's chasing Gil's character around, because he's moving aggressively. The way it was shot, he was up over and on her, right? That was much more indicative of how we would play that character.
Yeah, we saw that. We actually saw it not on opening weekend, so we just saw it recently. We finally got to see Scream 6. Yeah,
I saw it. I saw it on opening night because the next day we had our show. Right.
That's it.
And I'd been on, Instagram the whole time, like, hey, go see Six and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So I was obligated and went and saw it. It was fantastic. I enjoyed that movie.
Art was slaving me away. I couldn't do anything that weekend. No, just,
That was a super successful weekend for everybody.
it was great. Yeah, we had a great time.
Being a small regional pop up, and we coined the phrase that was a pop con because it kind of morphed into that.
Yeah, I think we had almost 30 a little over 20 vendors actually.
It was, I think we had 30 actually.
30. Okay.
We lost 2 to the ring.
Right.
And
boy, did they lose out by canceling.
the vendors just crushed it.
Yeah.
It's such a great little event. I was so pleased to be a part of that. It's just, I was in SoCal at the time, and then everything lined up, and everybody this is a whole rut, man. I just loved having so much fun.
Yeah. And it actually shows like the community really loves Art and Honey, which is Vanessa. We call her Honey. Liz, the whole family, the Art Sideshow Museum here. They just really love them, and they're always giving back.
Yeah.
So the community realizes that, and they do the same.
Well, it's like we were talking about earlier. It's just such a cool horror scene.
It's
24/7, 365.
24/7.
It might get crazy at Halloween. Honestly, that's prime time. But everybody takes a little breather over the holidays about this much because there's a lot of horror that goes on for Christmas, and then they take a deep breath in January and then mash the gas.
Yeah.
And we start again and start all over.
I think you get a week off.
And I've had the pleasure and then had been blessed enough to travel all over the country and do horror cons and at Comic Cons and all those great things. And I'm telling you, man, SoCal's special. It has its own scene.
It does.
Okay, and we have super cons here. I mean, some big heavy hitting cons, but SoCal, those might be the cherries on top of everything. But SoCal has such a great little community and scene going on that they survive and thrive without those major cons.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against major cons. I like big cons. It's like making big movies to me, right? They're so fun. But now it's really super refreshing, super blessings to come on down here and work a no budget con, right? And just to see how the community came together, supported each other, and to do the numbers that I'm going to say we collectively did on a rainy Saturday.
Pouring great Saturday.
Yeah. And those people are lined up outside to get in here. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, that line. So my booth was almost at the end of the wall here.
Yeah.
And it was to me or past me the whole day.
Yeah, all day.
All day.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
It's amazing. In the ring.
Which that just tells you the depth. I mean, that's a typical horror fan.
Yeah.
Scream Nation is like affectionately called Scream fans, which are great. There are.
Oh, yeah.
But they're within the big umbrella of the horror fan. And horror fans, I grew up on black and white horror.
Yeah.
From an early age, right? Horror fans are the best.
The community is the best. I agree. 100%.
They're just crazed, rabid, and the people are so cool.
Yeah.
And I've traveled all over the country doing these things. And it doesn't matter, East Coast, West Coast, Central Quarter, it doesn't matter. The horror fans are just fun.
Yeah. It's a different breed.
It is, but they're not like people.
They're awesome.
They are, but they're so fun.
Yeah.
Like nobody has like weird vibes in the S7. And they're just like, they're fantastic people, and as an outsider, someone who's an outsider looking into that craziness, you're like, that's a freak show. Yeah, but it's a fun freak show.
That's right.
With crazy fun people, and they just love everybody, That's why I'm kind of the same vibe. It's like, man, let's get together and have a party and sign some stuff. And
that's right.
Make some memories. So it's such a blessing to be part of this.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So, did you have any crazy experiences while filming Scream?
No, I mean, well, let's define crazy, right? Look at the company we're keeping, right? We're in here middle of Mars. This place is crazy,
and it's live. It's open, by the way. We're filming and recording the podcast, and it's an open building.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm sure everybody that's watching this or listening to this is going to hear the chainsaw just idling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's like, "What's that noise in the background?" It's the chainsaw.
Yeah.
I didn't want to define crazy. So like when Scream, before we even rolled camera, right? We were up in Southern California getting ready wrap it up. We're getting ready to go. And the school board meeting wanted to shut us down. I mean, there's a, talk crazy, right?
I get that. Yes.
The first week of filming, there was such huge pressure on Wes. He would shoot all day, or all night in our case. He would edit, turn around and submit those to the producers, right? Because they didn't have his vision, and he had to convince them. And it took a week of shooting and editing and go, this is what we got. And then they finally got the concept, and everybody's like, oh, okay. So that first 10 days of shooting was just, Wes was wrung out. He was averaging 2 hours sleep a night.
Yeah. Jeez.
And they wanted to shut us down. And then after it's all said and done, they wanted to give us like an X rating or R rating. I mean,
keep you up there.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy.
It works.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I didn't have first-hand knowledge, but my understanding is when the producers went into the ratings board and said, no, it's a comedy. And they downgraded it for like an X R or something like that. Because they came at it from a different optics.
Yes.
So in that sense, yeah, those are the crazy ones. And getting shut down, or people getting want to come out. I don't think they wanted to come out with pitchforks and flames and burn us.
Hey, and it was a new character. See, that's what probably freaked them out. It's a new character.
Well, it was a new character, and he was stabbing people.
Stabbing
and kids, and it was a very sensitive time because I actually saw true life drama that was going on up there. So it was very sensitive. There was a great effort to actually have shut us down.
Yeah.
Not only shut us down, run us out of town.
Wow.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And then survived. It's at 6 now.
Yep, 6.
And
we talked about that.
Yep.
7's on the way.
7's on the way.
I put that out to the universe on another podcast. I'm like, hey, I was talking to the directors. I'm like, hey, producer directors, guys, I think I need to cameo it.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Bring me on. Let me cameo.
Make a sandwich in the background or something.
Yeah. The ultimate, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think the ultimate full circle of this character and the Mike Baldwin character would be somehow bring Drew Barrymore back and have her kill Lee. Right?
Yeah.
That would be
do a flashback.
That would be the full circle.
Yeah.
Is to have her come back in some capacity and I end up getting whacked by Drew.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
Now that scene, so that's Scream 1 with Drew Barrymore. That scene when she's being chased out into the front yard, her parents pull up. Are you the one that kills her there?
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite scene actually in the Scream franchise. Kill scene.
Yeah.
Because she sold it. I mean, she's at the back window, the sliding glass window. She's running outside. You get her. She's pulled across the grass. And the coolest thing of that scene that I'll never forget is she's being dragged. She has the phone screaming in her hand. And her mom's on the phone inside the home listening to her. She says, I can hear her.
Yeah. It's so wicked.
I'll never forget that. Yeah, that is wicked.
Yeah. Wes and her, and I didn't know this until I heard these tapes for Wes Craven. And one of my partners on Instagram is Wes Craven.
Yep.
Now, William R. Perry was an accomplished actor and stuntman. He was Wes's weapon back in the day. He read the script before I did. Right?
Wow.
And so there's a lot of history back there. And we were talking about that at one time, and it turns out that he has some lost tapes that he found in one of his boxes that is Wes doing these interviews from 25 years ago. So it's this historical stuff. It's really great. And in those tapes, Wes talked about how he motivated Drew to, when she's on the phone, started to really lose it.
Yeah.
Right? And she's in a full-on, terror, panic there. That was legit. And how he took her there is that she's a big softie. Everybody knows her now, and because she's full gear. But she got the TV show, a makeup line, wardrobe line, a magazine, Oprah 2.0. She's just crushing it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's so fun to watch her have that success, and so deservedly. She's a big dog person, loves her animals. Right. Well, she had, at that time, Rewind 26 years ago, she had read an article or seen an article about somebody who had lit a dog on fire with gasoline. Very tragic, very graphic, right? And so her and Wes were talking. This is the night before shooting. And, Wes goes, hey, can I go there with you? Which was, in a sense, saying, I'm going to use that tragedy of your life as motivation, right? And I didn't understand at the time, but we were on set, and I remember Wes telling Drew, we're in the house, and he goes, Drew, they're pouring gasoline on the dock, right? So I didn't know what they were talking about because I didn't have that information 26 years ago. So now I do. So now it makes sense. But I'm like, at the time, it was just kind of this weird thing. Like, why would you say that? And of course, she falls apart. She loses it because as an actress, that's what her. It was really what it was great to see. And now, in retrospect, it's phenomenal. But I'm like, listen, pouring gasoline on the dog got to do it. And she's just ballistic, right? She's crying, she's having it, And it takes a huge amount of trust between the actor and the director to go there and be that raw, that vulnerable. So as but Wes was like that. He made it safe for his cast.
Yeah. And that's, like I said, that's truly one of my favorite scenes. So to know that backstory of it, which I didn't know until today, that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool to go back, take yourself, put your own rewind, like, yeah, I remember filming that. And I remember this instance, but it didn't make sense. And here I am 26 years later, getting kind of the same information you are.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You're like, God, that's why you said that. How crazy was that? And so it's neat to have that. It's neat to have that information, to have it come full loop. Here we are, a quarter century later. That's kind of date me, but here we are 26 plus years later, and to have that information come full circle, and it kind of puts an exclamation point on things. It's kind of neat.
That is super cool. So what is the future for you now? What are your aspirations? Are you sitting? Because I want my supporters, of course, to support you, number one, but also follow you on your journey moving forward. 2023, we're here at Art Sideshow, but I know you do other bigger events that you attend as, you'll sign and you'll meet and greet and take photos and whatnot.
Yeah, and I was happily retired, fishing and getting fat. I like that. I'm just good.
Yeah,
and so
good to me.
Yeah. And all these people are like, where you been for 25 years? Like, fishing and getting fat, hanging out.
Yes.
And, so for the foreseeable near future, right, I'm having a great time with this experience. And as long as I'm having fun. So the rule was when I got sucked back in, right? And I told the people closest to me, I'm like, tell you what, I'm going to go give this a ride. And if I'm having fun, I'll stay with it.
Yeah.
And I'm having a blast. So I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to do some more comments. Those are helping. My biggest thing. Check me out on Instagram. He'll put the link on.
Yes, I will.
It's real hard to find. The leewaddell.
The leewaddell, Lee.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the best way to keep tabs on me, because everything hooks up there. I push, as you know. I self-promote. I promote my promoters.
Yep. Even when we did Art Sideshow.
Yes.
You were hustling.
I'm a very big promoter of that, because if I support the event and I support my promoters and I get bodies to a door, it's a trickle down theory. The promoters selling tickets, promoters making money, my vendors are making money, I'm making money. That's not all about the money, especially with me. It's about the interface with the fans.
Right.
That's the huge part. But it's not going to happen unless the chain of command is making profit, because this is, it's business. As far as it is for me,
definitely.
My promoter still needs to make some money, right? So he put these crazy things on, so mass of people come out, and we have a big party for 3 days. That's what it's.
Yeah, no, it was great.
So I pushed. Once I get signed on, I go. I mean, you've seen it. I go hard.
You did. I know we stayed in contact for a couple of weeks before leading up to Art Sideshow.
Yeah, and that's only because we had 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah, we were at crunch time.
Back when I did in February this year, I had the pleasure of coming out to SoCal. We did a place called Creep IE-Con.
Yep. I was there. I was at Creep IE.
Yeah, and I call it the Creep.
Yeah.
And Nick, that's how I come like, hey, it's called the Creep. And you watch, it's going to hug.
Just don't ever tell Nick Creepy.
Yeah. And I just call it the Creep, and that's the hook on it.
Yeah.
So
great event, by the way.
fantastic. Oh, really? Huge.
Fun. I attended their first year last year. This year was sold out both days.
Yeah, and it sold out. Like, it wasn't like a sellout the day before. It sold out a weeks in advance.
Yeah. And they added tickets to the last day and it's still sold out again. Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm signed on. He goes, yeah. I'm like, okay, now watch this, you know, and what happened? I promoted the snot out of that thing.
Yeah.
I pushed it hard, and it had it. It was the best event. It was the best, you know, event for those 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
And for 3 days. And everybody crushed it.
Yeah. It was great. Again, Art Sideshow was there. So
Yeah.
I was singing around with them.
Well, that's what I was talking to Art. He goes, hey, can you do this little thing? I'm like, dude, we don't have much time. He goes, okay. I'm like, let's do it.
Let's do it quick.
And so it's such a pleasure and blessing to be involved in all that. I'm a big promoter of myself and whoever I jump on the bat. Like, if we can pull these off and I get to hang out with the Scream Nation and hang out with some crazy trans, I'm happy.
Well, you had all of Scream Nation here.
Yeah, and there was a bunch.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I don't know the numbers, but I know I watched them all day long.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. And it's such a blessing to do that.
Yeah.
So, you know, so for 23, you know, here we are, we're wrapping up Q1, getting ready to get into Q2. Summer's going to be really busy for me. The back end of Q2, so let's just call it Q3, is going to be slammed. I won't have any time on it. So I'll be busy from, let's call it right now, busy from July all the way through November probably, because really, even if I wrap up most of my con touring by September, there's always going to be something popping up in October.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I try it. There might be something in November. By the time November hits, I'll be ready to go home and go fishing and hang out.
Fishing and
get fat.
And get fat, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to keep doing the con thing. As long as I'm having fun, people will still, you know, bless me to come out, put aside their stuff and talk shop like this. That's what I want to do with it. You know, I've had a lot of, believe it or not, I've had like 3 or 4 offers from indies like yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to come out of retirement? Go do it. I'm like, yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, we have to do that. That would be fun.
I mean, what do you do? There's like, oh, you could be the bad guy. I'm like, okay, there's a stretch. You be convict. I'm like, yeah, I'm good on convict. That's an easy one. No.
Rewrite.
Yeah. Please now a convict. Yeah, again. So I might get a chance to come back out and do some acting. That'd be kind of fun.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Like to do that.
Shout out to the mind of Mr. J, because that's his scripts.
That's his thing. So hopefully they'll come together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that I hope it comes to the fact that, like, you know, hey, we're going to do this and we'll have a sketch in fact. Yeah. That would be good for us. That'd be good for us real prop.
There you go.
So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to just keep laughing, loving, and be open-minded, be thankful.
Let's keep going. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I know this was it was like an unexpected moment. I think you got this call at 3:30. We sat down at 4:15.
Yeah, you know, to shoot. And then, you know, like I said, we're shooting this live. And people are in the background. And, you know, but, you know, I'm sure you're going to go cut some B-roll into all this. And this is that dude. Go show them the chainsaw.
That's got to do something. We have GHOSTFACE behind the little thing. Yeah. We have to get a sign actually from the event.
That's right, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
I should probably steal that. Way back the car up.
Part of your merch.
Yeah, there you go. That's my merch, my big merch deal. You know, so, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me in and having some laughs.
Thank you.
Nostalgia. Anytime, you know, I love the SoCal scene. So when I'm out here, you got my contacts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Art has you. We have you. We're going to do some shooting because I know if Jay approached you, it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, was that, you know, as that gets legs and comes up, and just reach out to me and we'll just make it happen.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
But depending on what the con schedule is. You know, thing about cons is I fly in on Thursday, absolutely go nuts Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the screamnation.
Yeah.
Pass out Sunday night, jump a jet Monday, go home, drop bags, regroup, and go out next Thursday. So I have about 2 days off a week when it's in high gear.
Yeah.
And so, but, you know, I'm going to give you congratulations on part 2 coming up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's coming up. Script is just about finished, and we're almost ready to roll. I can't wait.
All right, so admit you could edit this later, but did you at least double your budget this time?
Oh yeah, no, but because what we did was Amazon and Troma and all that, the revenue that's coming in,
Right. Finance
We're putting back in. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Back in my day, or our day, we used to pre-sell. We used to go over to cons and just pre-sell the whole package.
we didn't have that option this time though, because we really didn't know where this movie was going to go or how successful it was going to be.
Oh yeah, man! But you just did it out of love.
We did it out of love, and Jay, I'm telling you, his mind, the way he works, you'll get to see it when we do part 2. Part 2 is a bigger script. The storyline is more intriguing. There's an action shot or scene or 2.
I did. I'll come out and I'll put my stunt coordinator back on that. And I don't know how much dust is
Actually, now that you said that, because we're a small indie organization now, there is a scene in there. I don't want to give too much away, but we do need a lot of stunt professional.
There you go. You know, you got another qualified stunt coordinator. That's insurable. Yeah, that's insurable.
Yeah. So, and then of course you get into the movie as well, so you get double credit.
Yeah, double jeopardy. I love it. Both sides.
Yeah.
As it comes around, man, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah,
Just reach out. We'll have fun with it. And we'll let you know. Hopefully, another year from now, we'll be going. Yeah, this one got distribution here and there. Just double down and do it again.
That's right. That's the goal. That's our plan. Our long-term plan. So
Just keep laughing and loving it. You're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know, that's the main thing. You're keeping your vision pure and your heart pure on it, and that's where the fun comes in.
and it's the love of film.
It is, you know, and I'm so blessed and fortunate to be at this point in my life, kind of revisiting something like that, and even have the opportunity to get in front of the camera or behind camera again. Out of fun. So
That'll be fun.
yeah, we're just gonna run with it, see where it goes. So let's go shoot some B-roll of some jail songs and stuff, and
Yeah, guys. And thank you so much for tuning into Real Adventures and Destinations with the one and only. Find him on Instagram, guys. _Lee_Waddell, the original Ghostface. You don't want to miss some of the things that he has coming up. He may be in part 2 of our movie. Sounds good, guys. Stay tuned for the next one, guys. Have a wonderful evening.
peace.